Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about getting ready for a crisis, a zombie apocalypse, or just anything. Maybe a pandemic, or perhaps a hurricane. Regardless of what it is, let's make a plan. And sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to be a prepper. Preppers have to spend all this money and all this time and all this energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start the process to make it a lot easier for you. And I promise you that if you follow these steps, this thing will not be this overwhelming thing, but you can actually make it kind of fun. So I'm going to ask you to get your pen and your paper out and get ready to take notes. And this might be a fun one to do with your spouse or significant other. And let's call this prepping for the zombie apocalypse. And what is the zombie apocalypse? In reality, it's a crisis, and it's a crisis that we have to deal with. So it doesn't really matter what that crisis is, whether it is medical, whether it is physical, like an asteroid coming out of the sky, or if it's whatever it is. There's always going to be weather related. Everything's science, right? So you have to step back a little bit and say, what problem am I having to deal with? What do I need to do, and what are my current resources? So let's make this into a game, okay? I'm just going to kind of walk you through it so you can kind of start making your plan. So here we go. Identify your threat. Today we're going to say it's the zombie apocalypse because, like any other threat, everything boils down to some fundamentals. So number one, you always need to make sure that you have water and food in that order. You've always heard you can live longer without food than you can without water. So make sure you have water. All right. So that's what we have to do now. Okay. So on your piece of paper, say, this is where I am living. This is my situation. This is my bug in or my bug out. So bug in is a term meant for I'm staying in my house, wherever it is. I live in a city. I live in an apartment. If something bad happens, I'm staying in my house, I'm locking the door, I'm not leaving. So that's called bugging in. And if you're bugging in, you need to make sure you have the proper resources. So let's start writing your resources down. If you don't have them, let's just imagine your resources. So you need 3 weeks of supplies on hand. And if you have 3 weeks of supplies, you can usually get through most emergencies. And now, flooding is going to be an issue, of course. Your plan, if it floods, is probably going to be to evacuate. But always plan 3 weeks. 3 weeks, you're going to lock your doors and not leave the house. So, how much water do you need? You need to figure that out. You need to look at your family and say, okay, guys, we have this many people, we need this many gallons per day, and figure that out. Now, secondly, how do you store water in a city? I've always said this. Put them under your bed. Raise your bed a little bit and just store water from end to end under your bed. It keeps things from getting pushed under there, and if each person is basically sleeping on their water supply, it doesn't take up any space, and you have plenty of water. So you have your water. Now, you need your food. Same thing, 3 weeks. It doesn't have to be wonderful, it just has to be healthy. And when I say healthy, in an emergency situation, you need something with high calories because you're probably going to be working hard. Now, if you're bugging in, you probably need to stay to your normal calories. But if you are probably going to evacuate, or if you intend to evacuate, or if you need to bug out, you're going to need something with high calories because you're going to be doing a lot of stuff. So bug out. What's bug out? That means you're going to leave your location. You're going to go someplace else that you think is safer. Typically, that's in a rural setting, and people start building their homesteads or their bunkers or whatever that is. So that's what we're going to do today. You're going to build your homestead. And these are the things you have to think about when you build your homestead. Well, you're going to need water. You're going to need food. So how are you going to dig this well? Are you going to dig a well? Figure that out. Then you're going to need the food. Then you're going to need security. Then you're going to need sanitation. And you're going to need a hunter. Then you're going to need a gatherer. You're going to need a teacher and a medical. Okay, let's slow down here. Here's where the fun part gets, where it starts getting fun. Let's say you need to create a new community. Collapse of the civilization because the zombies have overtaken everyone. So you have to rebuild. Now you have a little piece of land and you have some friends. Friends on your Facebook or wherever your social media, Instagram, whatever. So let's use them. And now you're going to say, let's say 12 people. Because, you know, I'm a religious guy. 12 is a good number. There's 12 apostles. I know one of them kind of zipped, but another one showed up. Anyway, let's say 12. So let's talk 12. 12 people you're going to invite to live on your commune. Now, remember, this is your, oh no, the zombies are attacking and we need to set this up. So find 12 of your friends that you want to live in your commune. List those right now before I go any further. List 12 friends. So pause this, list your friends, and then hit play. All right, now that you have your 12 friends, now go through this list and list which one of your friends can provide these things. And you can write these down and go with it later. So, security. You guys know what security is? That's from animals, that's from people, from zombies. Security. You need somebody to provide sanitation. You need someone to be able to hunt because it may be that that's where it goes to. You need someone that can gather, that understands herbs, spices, can go through the woods and know what's edible, what's not edible. And that kind of goes with the gardener. You need to know somebody that's got a really green thumb. So make sure you have that person. Now you need a teacher because who knows how long the zombies are going to be around, and you need to teach people. Specifically, you need to teach small children. So don't think professors in college. Think young. Think first, K through 5, because those are the teachers that know how to teach the fundamentals, and then everything else can go from there. So don't think I need a college professor that knows everything else, everything to know about molecular biology. Well, in this situation, that might come into play because they're zombies, but probably not. Think elementary school teacher. Think basics. Someone that knows how to teach how to read. That's important. That's why I kind of jumped on that. You need a medical professional. I'm not saying you need a doctor. You need someone that understands what's a trauma and what's not a trauma. Someone that can think on their feet. A nurse, a trauma nurse, is more than sufficient for a homestead because doctors are great, but they don't do most of the work in the hospital and responding to, they're not the first responders. The nurses are the first responders. And in a homestead situation, you are not going to have time to even get a CAT scan or anything like that. So you need someone that has experience seeing someone come in. I mean, that's kind of where I would be. If I'm looking for a medical professional among my friends, I'm looking for someone who has trauma nurse experience. That could be a doctor, could be anything, but that's what you're looking for. EMT, think EMT. Don't think they're gonna, take out your gallbladder. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for an EMT. All right, this one is going to be missed by a lot of people, and even the United States military has recognized this as being a super important part of troop readiness, and that is to have a chaplain and or therapist available at all times. So who among your friends, and I'm not saying who's your most religious friend, but who among your friend is your leader? Hopefully you have a friend that is a pastor or a priest that already has that experience, and that's the person you need to assign. You can be the leader of the group, but you still need to have a chaplain and or a therapist. I think you should have both because spiritual and psychological, although they tend to overlap, there's different ways to treat those. So think who in your friend, you don't need someone that's prescribing medication. So you don't need a psychiatrist because, you can't go to the pharmacy. You can't get medications anyway. You need someone that can talk. You need a psychologist. You need someone that's going to help the other people within the community solve problems and things like that. All right. Now, if you are building a community and you got your 12 friends, which one of them is a plumber? Which one of them can weld? Which one of them is a carpenter? Which one of them is an electrician? Which one of them is a mechanic? Can that mechanic do small engine repair? Can that mechanic do large engine repair? Can it, so you need the trades. See where I'm going here? So now that you have your team of people and you've assigned them all jobs, you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't have any friends that can do this. Or I have a whole bunch of these kind of friends, but I don't have any of those other kind of friends. Yeah, there lies in the problem, isn't there? That's the issue. So here is the next piece of the game, and I'm going to leave you guys to it because I think I've given you guys plenty to work off of. But here it is. Go back through your friends. Go back through all your friends, your family, and then start filling in these jobs. And once you fill in these jobs, you'll know how much space you need. You'll know all that stuff. And then you have a plan on paper. And when it comes to goals, writing them down is the most important thing you can do. So if you've actually followed this video today, you have just created your bug out plan. You have made a prepper plan, and now it's your job to act on it. One of the best things you can do is, nurture those relationships of your team and make sure that you have some of those skills too. And tell people, hey, if things really go bad, I want you to be the teacher among our group, or I want you to be the EMT in our group, or I want you to be in charge of sanitation. And I just mentioned sanitation. That's pretty important, sanitation, because a group of a lot of people, you need somebody that understands how to make sure everything stays clean, obviously, in our state of affairs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was kind of fun to make it. It's a little different than I normally do. And leave a comment. What I miss? What do you think is important to have in your bug out location that I didn't talk about? And what would you like me to go more into? So until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.